Hello fellow collectors and welcome to Long's Toys. Today we are taking a look at Deluxe Class Cheetor from Transformers Kingdom War for Cybertron Trilogy. So once again we have that minimal plastic going on with the packaging and we get a lot of beautiful box art here on the front. Robot mode, animal mode, all looks great. I love the background with the erupting volcano with the arc parked on the top there. So pretty cool. Not too much going on the top or bottom. On the side over here, we have that kind of standard artwork for all of the Kingdom releases. It's the same like poster on the side here, which I think looks pretty cool. And on the back, we have that kind of cave painting motif background with the robot mode and the cheetah mode. So pretty neat. I'm liking the packaging for Kingdom. It's very colorful, very fun. I like it a lot. I'm going to go ahead, get Cheetor out of the box here, and we're going to take a closer look. Here is Cheetor out of the packaging, and for the most part, I think he looks pretty cool. I feel like the shade of blue they went with is just a little bit too light. I would have liked a darker blue, and I'm pretty sure I've already seen pictures of they're going to do a recolor of him for the Netflix line, like they've been doing for that Walmart exclusive line, and the repaint is going to have the darker blue and look a lot more like the original toy, so they may sucker me into buying a second one of these. I don't usually go for the Netflix repaints unless they're completely different, but I think that will be a nice enough repaint that I might have to pick that one up, so we'll see how that goes. Now, I think in the packaging, they just kind of have you, put the legs down here like this, but on the show, he would always cross them like that. And you can actually do that here if you want. You don't have to, but if you want to replicate that look from the show, you can cross the legs here on the back. I think it looks pretty cool, so I'm going to go ahead and do that. But I think they did a pretty nice job. I mean, all the cheetah spots look pretty good. I think the cheetah head looks pretty good. The head sculpt for Cheetor himself, I think, looks pretty good. Let's get a little bit closer there. So I like that. He does have these kind of like shoulder pads on the back that really you can't do too much with, and that does hinder his articulation a little bit. Head itself is on a kind of ball joint at the back of his head, as you can see, and that so he can look up and down, no problem, but he can't really look down. Like he can look all the way up and kind of straight forward. Side to side should be no problem, and it does move around as part of the transformation. With the shoulders, you can swivel a little over 90 degrees because like I said, you can't really go all the way around because this piece is kind of stuck here. Now he does have a hinge as well. There is a kind of butterfly joint that's really just part of the transformation, but I guess you could use it if you need to. Can't really go too far, stops about there. But you do have swivel and a hinge there, so it's just limited by that shoulder pad, which is kind of a bummer. You do have a bicep swivel as well. You have 90 degrees in the elbow, and you do have a wrist swivel, so you can move that around. So, I mean, he's got good articulation. It's just hindered by that shoulder pad, which is kind of a bummer. He does have waist articulation right there. Similar situation with the hip. You can kind of kick forward, and you can kick decently to the side, but it gets kind of stuck by this big butt skirt that's really just part of the cheetah. Can't really go any farther back than that. Like I said, you kick out to the side about that far. Really nice range of motion to the front, but again, hindered, which is very similar to the shoulder there. You do have a thigh swivel, which is really just right above the knee, and then you do have about 90 degrees in the knee, and then of course he does have ankle tilt, as that is a requirement pretty much now for these figures. But ultimately, I think he looks good. Let me get a little bit closer here. I do think he looks good. I think he's got a decent amount of articulation. I just think it's a shame that it is hindered by these big shoulder pads and kind of the butt skirt here. But overall, if you're just looking at him, I think aesthetically, I think he looks pretty cool. Like I said, I wish he was a little bit darker shade of blue. He does come with one accessory, this kind of mace, I guess, melee weapon, whatever you want to call it. To me, this is very reminiscent of the weapon that he used with his transmetal body, but for whatever reason, they've gone back and given it to his first form. My favorite part of the toy was the two goofy guns that he came with. He had that one, which on the show they kind of animated to almost look like it had brain matter on the back of it. I never understood that. And then it had, I think that one was, the original toy could shoot water. It was like squishy and it could draw in water and then fire it. And then he had another tail cannon where the tail bended back and there was a gun underneath. So this is a questionable choice for me. I don't hate it. I mean, it fits in his hand decently enough. If for whatever reason you wanted to have him hold it like this, maybe to use as a whip or something, you could do that. So maybe it's multifaceted in that regard, but I miss him having a proper gun, a proper blaster. So I don't know. I don't know if that's something they could just toss in with that Netflix one. Even if it doesn't store anywhere in the cheetah mode, I'd be fine with that. I just wish he had a proper blaster that looked like how he looks on the show, or something similar to that, or the original toy, whichever one they want to do. But I feel like he should have a proper blaster of some kind. I just think the melee weapon, it's okay, but again, I feel like it's not really meant for this form, so it's surprising me that it was included. Also, be careful you don't accidentally throw this out because of how it's packaged. When you pull out the cardboard insert that this guy is like tied down to, it's on the back in a secret section that I almost missed it. I was going through the directions on the transformation and it said, okay, go ahead and plug in the tail. And I went, oh yeah, he's supposed to have a tail weapon. Where is that? Luckily, I didn't throw the package out yet. So just be careful. Apparently, there's a couple releases in this line. I think Black Arachnia has a weapon as well. Going to be a similar situation where you have to make sure you don't throw these accessories out by accident. But yeah, overall, I think he looks pretty cool. Not too bad. Just really wish he didn't have so much articulation hindered. And I wish he was a darker shade of blue. And I wish he had a blaster weapon instead of a melee weapon. So I guess a few things. Wanted to do a little group shot of all the Maximals we have so far. I really can't wait for Dinobot. He's coming out in Wave 2, so... And I'm assuming they're going to redo Rhinox as well. If you have the Rhinox from the Thrilling 30 line, he probably would fit in here pretty well, I would think. Unfortunately, I have him, but I don't have him handy. Otherwise, I would totally toss him in this group shot. But so far, these are the three we have in the first Wave of Kingdom, and I think they look really great. They're definitely in scale with each other, which I really appreciate. So I think they've done a great job of, picking what size class to release these figures in, because I think they all look pretty great together and in scale and all that. So very much looking forward to Dinobot and Rhinox to complete the core 5. All right, let's go ahead and get into transformation. It's honestly not that difficult. You're going to start off by tilting that head back on that ball joint and then spinning it around. Now you have to tilt it back to spin it because otherwise it won't clear the way the collar that this has, so make sure you do that all the way around. And then you have this thing where you have to move the arms up, and then these little tabs on the side, they're just kind of like little panels that fold in. You're going to fold them out to the side, and then you have to lift up the entire cheetah head, which is a little weird. So this completely pulls out, and you can see basically there's this big tab that was pegged into the roof of his mouth, and you have to open the mouth all the way, and then it just kind of sits in there, and it's a way to just kind of keep the cheetah head displayed on the chest without making it look kind of like the entire cheetah head is right there, I guess, so it doesn't look too creepy. So then you can go ahead and close the mouth there. You can lift this all the way up. This will come to a point where it logically stops. You can kind of tilt this down, and then this will go over top and close up like that. And that's pretty good. I think it works out pretty well. You can open the mouth a little bit if you like. Maybe leave it like halfway open, something like that. Next, you're going to come to the arms and kind of put them straight down. You're going to rotate them at the bicep so that the panels line up, and you can see that there's kind of a tiny little spot for a clip right there. So that's going to clip in, and then you're going to rotate this around so that's there, so that that lines up with that all right there. Come around here, do the same on this side. So pop that there. This is going to line up like so. Then you're just going to fold these panels completely in. So this is just going to make sure the legs don't get in the way. This is going to completely fold in like this and peg into each other very simply. There we go. I feel like every time I say very simply, the toy decides to, make me eat my words. So make sure the arms are out of the way, then you can fold these panels back in just to kind of close up that space. And then you can see you have the cheetah legs that you can kind of get ready to position. Next up, very simple over here, you're going to take this and fold this part down. As it does, this will go around and fold inside like so, and then that'll make that come back around. So just kind of rotate the legs around there to hide the robot feet. Unfortunately, they just kind of stick out the back. It's not great, but it's not terrible. And then you're just going to bend that down there, straighten out the feet, and pose them how you like. and then bring the tail in and peg it into this peg hole on the back here. So pop that in, and there you go. That's it. That's your cheetah mode. Like I said, it's really not too difficult, but I think it works. Let's get this situated here. So obviously I don't have them posed very well right now, but you do have a swivel and kind of an out to the side hinge on the shoulder. Honestly, you have more shoulder posability for the cheetah than you do the robot. You have a bend here, not quite 90 degrees, maybe 45 degrees there. And then you have a ball joint in the paw. And then down here you have a swivel. You can still kind of use this swivel without having the robot foot hang out. And then you have just a hinge. No, they're ball joints still. Yeah, they're ball joints. Ball joints in the all four paws. That's pretty cool. So I think he looks pretty cool. I like the way that the legs can be expressive, because I feel like in the original show when he'd be running around as a cat, he'd have to like stop really quick or something like that, and he kind of put his arms out to the side. So you can kind of recreate like a little bit of that character that he had on the show when he was cruising around in cat mode, which I think is pretty fun. So honestly, I think the cheetah mode is pretty successful. I mean, really, you have the robot hands a little bit there on the bottom, but you don't really notice it that much unless you turn it completely upside down. Just from the side, you don't really see it. I think the tail works. I think all the cheetah spots look pretty good. Like I said, I like the cheetah head. I think the mouth is pretty successful. You can open that to varying degrees. So I like that. The problem with the eyes is I wish there was a way. Obviously, when it's on his chest, you don't want the eyes there staring at you, creeping you out. But in the cheetah mode, it would have been neat if they could have given him eyes, but that would be some kind of sophisticated like mechanism, and it's just too small to pull that off. So I completely understand why they just went with solid color eyes, because I do think it's more important to not have the eyes creeping you out in the robot mode. But yeah, overall, I think the cheetah mode's pretty successful. I think it looks good. So at the end of the day, I think Cheetor's alright. I've seen a lot of people complain online, and I have seen some people say they've had issues with the cheetah head breaking, or they think it's going to break. I don't really know what exactly they're talking about. I haven't seen any pictures or anything. If anyone knows, let me know in the comments, because I'm very interested. I was looking at it while I was transforming him, and I'm assuming it might have something to do with how you have to kind of peg this in here. I think as long as you're careful with it, it should be okay. Nothing seems overly flimsy to me, but I guess time will tell. But yeah, overall, I think I like the robot mode a lot. I like the cheetah mode a lot. He does have the shoulder hindrance, but I will say while I was transforming him back into robot mode, I realized that this is on a hinge, which I did not realize previously. So you can get a little bit more articulation out of the hip. Pretty much still out to the side the same amount. Can't really go back anymore, but you can come forward a little bit and you can go out to the side. So hips still aren't 100%, but they're a little better. It's mostly just the shoulders that really have that hindrance from this kind of back shoulder pad piece. But I do wish he was in a darker shade of blue. But again, that's probably going to be rectified by the second release. And I wish he had a blaster weapon instead of a melee weapon. Which, who knows, maybe that'll be rectified with the second release as well. So if you want to hold out for that second release, I understand. I would say he's definitely worth picking up at least one version, because I do think it's a fun mold. Transformation is fairly simplistic, but that can be fun to transform him back and forth pretty quickly. And I think he looks good with Rat Trap and Primal also from Wave 1. So I'm having fun building out the crew. And yeah, like I said, he's not perfect, but I still think he's worth picking up. I still think he's a lot of fun. But let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Please like, share, and subscribe. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. And as always, thanks so much for watching.